the 261 inline 6 V8 killer ultimate sleeper. Most of you watching this video have probably never heard of a 261, and I completely get that. Some of you may never have heard of the phrase sleeper. So what is a sleeper? Well, a sleeper is a performance-enhanced vehicle, a hopped-up car, if you will, that appeared otherwise stock. You couldn't tell that it was hopped up. I have a sleeper right here. It's a 1951 Chevrolet Bel Air. Now, the Bel Air was the top-of-the-line car in the 1951 Chevrolet series. Well-built cars, beautiful cars, but unfortunately, the power plant, the 216 inline 6, lacked the power of the second series Bel Air that would come after this, which had the 235, more powerful, and then the third series Bel Airs, which had the V8s, the 55 through 57 series, significantly more powerful than a stock 51 Bel Air. But this car is anything but stock. It's actually a Restomod, the term used today, Restomod. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's a car that appears substantially stock, but it has performance enhancements and upgrades that make it anything but stock. Now, at the end of this video, there are 3 pictures that will list for you the performance upgrades and enhancements that have been done to this car. It'll help you to understand what this car is all about. Be sure and take time to see those. Okay, so back to the 261. Like I said, it's an inline 6-cylinder. It looks identical. It is the absolute twin to a 235, and it looked very similar to what came in this car, the 216, but very definitely different in terms of torque and power. So, back in the day, when you challenged the guy who had his brand new 1955 Chevrolet V8 to a race, and he looked at your lowly 6-cylinder under the hood, he wouldn't take you very serious. He'd probably laugh at you. He'd stop laughing after you pull ahead of him in the race. And that's no joke. That motor, the 261, was a V8 killer, so it made it the ultimate sleeper. Very few people knew about that engine. In fact, it's almost impossible to distinguish between the 261 and the 235 unless you know how to look at it. It's got captain's bars, or what they refer to as captain's bars, cast on both sides of the block, and of course there's a casting number on there that'll identify it. So, super sleeper for sure. So here's the engine bay and the mighty 261. Now you can see some performance upgrades and hop-ups of the period, and you can guess that this probably is a good running little engine, but you'd never know just how torquey it is. You can also see the modern day power steering that's been added to it, but in general, it's been kept to look like a sleeper. Another upgrade is it's air conditioning ready, so it's got the modern day heat and air ready system ported, ready to add air if anyone wanted to. Okay, so let's fire it up and go on that test drive. Well, okay, we're getting ready to go on our test drive, and I hope I can convey to you how cool this car is. There are so many different layers of cool factor. It's just that perfect blend of substantially original, where most of the original DNA is still intact from an appearance standpoint, but it's got upgrades, performance upgrades from the period that are just perfect, and then modern upgrades that allow you to get in the car and go places, a road trip, out of town, highway speeds, no problem. And that's one of the things I love about the car, but there are many other things. I love this interior, this Hampton coach interior, which is a factory upgrade unique to the Bel Air. It wasn't available in any of the other Chevrolets, and it's really quite expensive to restore it with the original Hampton coach interior, and that's why most of these cars get redone with some custom interior. I think this looks better by far. So I love that. I love the color. Oh my God, the surf green on this car is gorgeous. Makes people smile. I can't go anywhere without someone commenting on the car, and one of the comments almost always includes the color, the surf green. Just everything, the dash, just everything about this car just makes you happy. But the performance, that's the surpriser. That's what separates it from any other Bel Air of this vintage, and in fact makes it competitive with the 55, 6, and 7. It'll outrun my dad's 57 283 power pack, so that should tell you something. So it's not overbuilt, it's just a torquey, high-performance motor of the day, or good performing motor of the day, adapted to the right components. Turbo 350 with a Nova 350 rear end. It's the perfect combination. So, okay, let's go on that test drive. By the way, it's got a tilt, which is very cool. So you can set your drive position to whatever you like. You can get in it and enjoy it and not worry about getting run over by the guy behind you. In fact, he may have to get out of your way. She pulls good. It's not floored, but it's cranking. So we're 60 miles per hour right there. No problem. And I don't know how fast this car will go, but it'll go faster than I'm going to go in it. Okay, so I'm going to let this guy pass me to show you. He's going highway speed, but I'm going to slow down just a little bit and let him pass me. He's going a little over the speed limit. But let me show you when I give it the gas what happens. Woo! Absolutely leave him in the dust. Very impressive. Okay, we're going down the road at highway speeds. It's a super windy day. It does feel great though. It's June here in Texas. Starting to warm up a little bit, but it feels good with these windows down. I'm hard topping it, as my dad used to say. Okay, rough set of railroad tracks right here. Really rough. She's fine. All right, let's make a tight U-turn to show you how easy this thing turns. It's amazing. It's power steering, rack and pinion. So left hand, just the palm of my left hand. I'm not even gripping the steering wheel. And she easily makes the turn. And easily gets back up to speed. It's a very torquey motor. I mean, of course it is. The 261 was built to push big old heavy dump trucks and school buses full of kids down the road. So you can imagine what it feels like in this Bel Air. So I'm fixing to go up a hill, and I'm going to accelerate up that hill. And we're gaining speed. Gaining speed. Gaining speed. 70 miles per hour and gaining 75, 80. Right there. That's a lot of torque. Very impressive. The 261. Oh my goodness. The thing is, it'll walk down the interstate at 65 all day long with passing gear kicking in and running the thing up to 80, 85. That's a lot of speed. Who would expect it? Gauges are super accurate. They're modern day VDO gauges. You know exactly what's going on with your car, and I love that. Put LED brake lights in the rear to make it super bright, so people can see that you've stopped or that you're turning. And I'll show you a picture of that. It's pretty impressive. Highly recommend the LEDs for the vintage cars. 50, 60, 70. Hit passing gear in 65 and pulled pretty good. You might have felt it. Very impressive. All right, I think the most convincing thing is just to be behind the wheel. I've had several friends go for a ride, open the hood, they look at it, yeah, 235 is what they're thinking because that's what it looks like. Then they get in here and I keep them almost pinned to the seat until this thing finally shifts in high gear at about 70, 75, and they're very, very impressed. So anyway, that's not the most impressive thing about the car, but it's super impressive when you compare it to any other inline six. The 216 that came in this car, you could throw the car off a cliff and it'd never go this fast. And the 235, it didn't have this kind of torque. It wouldn't pull like this. You know, a well-built 235 built by Stroker McGirt back in the day, our guy today following the right formula, they run good. but everybody knows that the creme de la creme is without a doubt the 261. It's the Hall of Fame six-cylinder, vintage inline six-cylinder to hop up that you could beat the V8s of the day, even the mighty 289. No joke. Well, that's it for the test drive. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoy it every time I get in this car. It's like no other 51 Bel Air you'll ever get in, unless it's an all-out street rod that's completely lost its original personality, and that's not what this car is. This car very much appeals to those who love original, but even more so to those who love original but don't want to have the original experience. It's just a fantastic ride. Well, if you did enjoy the test drive, click like and share this video. And go to our website, myrod.com. My son and I are crazy about classic cars. We have the unusual cars, the high quality, hard to find cars, and we call them the keepers. So myrod.com, check it out and come back often. Okay, adios.